All right. So we're going to go over a little bit of factor by grouping. So this is a few factoring techniques. So one of the things we gotta do is we gotta kind of tackle the things as our flowchart said, which is going to be, so this is a 4-term one. So we're going to turn this into factor by grouping. We're going to group these into two chunks here and here. Notice that they have some of the same values that can be factored out. So this one we're looking at an A. So I'm going to take out an A, and if I factor that out, I'm left with 5H minus 3F. And this one here, I can take out a 5 and a B and a 5 and a B. So then I'm going to go minus, oh, not minus, I'm going to take out a positive. 5B. I can take out a 5 out of 25 and a 5 out of 15. And then if I do that, I'm left with 5H minus 3F. So now if I looked at this again, we did this a different way where we just brought these two back, but people were getting confused of why those disappeared. So let's look at this again. This is the greatest common factor of the next step. So first we did greatest common factor for those two. Here we're going to do the greatest common factor for these two. What's the greatest common factor of both of those? Well, I'm going to divide this thing by 5H minus 3F, and I'm going to divide this thing by 5H minus 3F. So since I've divided by the greatest common factor again, which is what we did up here, we divided this by A, this by A, this by 5B, this by 5B. I moved those to the front. I moved A to the front. So now that I'm dividing this polynomial, if I'm dividing this by 5H minus 3F, I'm going to move that to the front. And I'm left with A plus 5B. So really, factor by grouping is setting it up so we can do the greatest common factor and then the greatest common factor again. So that's our factor by grouping. Remember, it's all based on the greatest common factor. Always look for the greatest common factor, either by factoring out at the beginning or factoring it out by grouping. So we're always looking for that greatest common factor piece that pops out. Not sure why this is getting a little, I think it's the way it's set up or the lighting. It keeps getting blurry on you guys, so sorry about that. If we just deal with factoring, there's always some different issues that pop up with factoring, and it can look like this. So then we've got x to the 8th minus 26x to the 4th plus 25. Well, we're just treating these like anything else. What multiplies together to make 25 but adds to make 26? We have negative 25 and positive 25. So I take x to the 8th, I put here, negative 25x to the 4th minus 1x to the 4th plus 25. Now, all I did was split this up and said, okay, what adds to make 26 but multiplies to make 25? Well, 25 and 1. So there's a couple different ways to look at that. Now I've got a 4-term one again. And at this point, I would look for the greatest common factor, and we've got x to the 4th, and that brings us x to the 4th minus 25. And then I can take out a negative 1 out of this, and that gives me x to the 4th minus 25. So now here I can take out an x to the fourth minus 25 and an x to the fourth minus 25. So I get x to the fourth minus 25. That's my greatest common factor between there. And I end up left with x to the fourth minus 1. Now, from here, a lot of people, oh, I'm done. But remember, we have the ability to factor these here. And so if I look at this, what multiplies to make 0 but adds to make negative 25? Well, we have positive 5 and negative 5. And then I can get x squared plus 5, x squared minus 5. If I'm looking at this one, I can look at this and say, okay, what multiplies together to make negative 1, but adds to make 0? X squared plus 1, x squared minus 1. So nothing multiplies and adds to make 5, but adds to make 0. Nothing multiplies to make negative 5, but adds to make 0. Nothing multiplies to make a positive 1, but adds to make 0. And if I look at this, this is a negative 1 here. What multiplies together to make negative 1, but adds to make 0? That would be x plus 1 and x minus 1. So on these longer ones, you really have to pay attention to your difference of squares. These guys that have perfect squares, 25, 1, 4, 9, 16, all those different numbers, you got to watch for those because they can keep getting factored over and over and over again. So my final factoring piece is going to be that. These are just going to take some practice and some work at those because they just keep popping up. So you got to really watch out for your difference of squares. Let's see what else you guys have on what we need to look at here. Let's see. The other common mistake one that you guys got to watch out for. This is a big one here. And I'm just going to throw out an example problem. 3x minus 7 squared. This here is 3x minus 7 times 3x minus 7. You have to multiply from there. So you get 9x squared minus 21x minus 21x plus 49. So this would be 9x squared minus 42x plus 49. So we have to distribute the 3's and we have to distribute the negative 7. So make sure you understand that this one is going to look a little different. A lot of people will get like 9x squared minus 14 or 6x. So we get some weird answers here. You have to multiply it out first. So make sure that you've looked at that piece and you've multiplied it out from there. We have some long division, some synthetic division. I'm not going to add those to these videos. Just the quick thing about long division and division and synthetic division. Don't forget when it's like x to the fourth minus x squared plus x minus 3 divided by x squared minus 1, that you're missing x cubed. So when you write this for long division, you guys will be x squared, x to the fourth. X to the fourth, let me raise that up a little bit, plus 0x cubed, and then finish the problem out. So make sure we're first term to first term here. So you're going to divide x to the fourth by x squared and then repeat your pattern from there. Same thing with synthetic division. Make sure that you don't forget to add the zeros for any missing piece and when we're looking for a remainder or anything else that you need from there. So long division and synthetic division, the biggest thing you need to remember is make sure you account for the zero. Other than that, I think that's about all the little tricks and review pieces that you guys need for that. You have your notes, you have old videos, and you have these quick review videos, and that is our plan for the next couple of days.